experience the full power of the dark side. Good!
We will deal with your rebel friends soon enough.
What the? Misa back!
Prepare to fire!
Oh no!
Hello and welcome back to Star Wars Beyond the Stars for episode number 49, recorded on Friday, October 23rd, 2015. I'm your host Fred, aka Sith Lord Korv. And over there, auditing the commander of Sith Intelligence, Buckeye from Imperial Logistics.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hello.
So, Lou, how much money do you owe?
Not one credit.
Your credits have no value now that we're under new leadership.
Yeah, this is true.
My leadership.
Not quite.
But Republic de Terres?
Wait a minute, this whole time you've been from Infinite Empire Logistics?
How do you think they all figured out, where to attack first?
Get this scum off my ship.
We keep trying, and he just keeps coming back. He's like a space cockroach.
It's because you guys left me the key.
And
He's
Play the janitor, grab your vibro mop, and hit this man.
Oops, sorry about that, Treek.
No, it's okay. It was funny. You don't have to be sorry. And also here is Captain Kimbre, aka Paige.
greetings from the captain's chair. That's all I got.
ID10T is here as well, working as Captain Kimbre's footstool.
Don't move.
That's Buckeye.
Don't move.
Okay. So, Paige, what's coming up in the captain's log tonight?
Coming up in the captain's log, we have our impressions on Cockfeet. Duh. We promise, though, no spoilers. Promise.
Is it like a smuggler's promise where you're really lying?
Maybe. You'll cut it out if anybody spoils anything. We also have, shut your mouth, Agent Alon's intelligence report, where Lou will present the Republic Strategic Information Service, Part 1.
And as always, you have something quick to mention. And this is coming from Eric Musco on the Dev Tracker forum today, around 3 o'clock Central Time. And he says, or writes, "Hey folks, for the question at hand about why equipment was removed from various vendors, this is due primarily to stat changes. With the release of Fallen Empire, we essentially made that gear obsolete due to the new stat configuration and formulas. This meant the best option was to remove those items. Obviously, this raises the main concern of the support call, which is the appearances of those armor sets. The dev team informs us that virtually all of the core armor appearances previously on those vendors can still be located throughout the game. The majority of the old armor sets can be found via crafting rewards, missions, and heroic mission rewards. Now, there may be some variants of these core armor sets which are no longer available, but we'll adjust that over time and slowly re-add pieces. If there are specific armor sets that can no longer be found, send the information to the community team and we'll pass it along. Taking a bite out of the people who can help you with getting you back into the game, helping you restore missing items or characters, and addressing any billing issues really isn't a good use of your time, or theirs. As a general note, if you guys have feedback or questions about design decisions or development philosophy, come to the forums and raise it here. going to customer support is not the correct place for that, and we will ask CS agents to direct you appropriately. Thank you all for your understanding, and hope that clears up any confusion on the issue. Eric.
Taking a bite out of people. Who the hell posted on the forum, Scruff McGruff?
Talking about a crime.
Take a
Many
bite out of
Bothans
Moscow.
posted.
Many a Bothans posted.
Many Bothans died to re-add the scare piece to the cartel market.
I never really liked Bothans anyway.
Alright. I do have a comment about this. Because a couple nights ago I ran through all the Forged Alliance stuff with Lou, I did make an observation that the Forged Alliance quests used to give you an entire set of oranges once you did them all. Now it's all green garbage. And not even an entire set. That upset me.
QQ.
Yeah. Fred had linked me a couple of the items that he had received. And
what I was wearing before.
Yeah, what he was wearing before. Yeah, it definitely was an upgrade, but still, it doesn't remove the fact that Forged Alliance, when it first debuted, gave you orange gear. Now, I mean, you could mod it out, change it out, swap out the mods if you like the appearance or what have you, or swap it around to other pieces. And that's something I really wish that maybe they should have made a note of, to mention, hey, by the way, some loot table changes to major quest storylines in the game. All right. But then again, I can see their point to where if you're running through Forged Alliances and then you get to the point where you start Knights of the Fallen Empire, all right, yeah, you're going to get pieces of gear that for folks, they're going to be upgrades, maybe not. Okay, because obviously they're trying to avoid the stat squish, okay, and the bloating of our abilities and skills and powers. So, but still, that doesn't remain the fact that I think the big point here was people had used those previous pieces, though, other pieces of armor that they took away from the game for their appearances. Now, I haven't gone through the rest of my characters yet, but I know I've done that, where I have old armor sets that I've kept, whether they were greens or blues. But because I like their appearance so much, I've kept them in storage. And then once the appearance designer came out, guess what? I slapped them on my characters.
Well, I don't really like the answer either that, most of that stuff's still available in the game somehow. Like, figure it out. Because the only piece that really mattered during the Forged Alliance thing is the weapon that you got at the end, because it was from like a previous raid tier. It was a golden version of it. Mm-hmm. And now that they removed the orange, now there's no way to get that weapon anymore. All of the other gear, I'm assuming it looks exactly the same because it has the same name as the oranges used to have. You can still use that for appearance purposes, but they don't have the outfit designer for weapons.
Right. Well, one thing that does serve with this answer, though, is the fact that if there are specific armor sets that can no longer be found, send information to us and we'll pass it along. I'm sorry, does your dev team that did that not realize, do they not know what the hell they took out of the game? I'm sorry, it's like, why should we have to do it? No. Your dev team took armor sets out of the game. Where's the list?
Well, I love before he made the post, like, they're too lazy to look and see if all those sets are still available, so he's like, most of them should still be available in the game somewhere. If there's one you can't get, let us know.
Right, and that's my main beef. It's like, I'm sorry, that's a sloppy answer.
Right, because, if you're building an appearance, you may want a specific color combination. And if it doesn't matter if the model of the chest, for example, is there in the game, if it's blue and you need green, it doesn't help you much if you wanted that shade of green, because dyes aren't necessarily the answer for everything. So, we'll see.
50 Shades of Green.
Yeah. Well, especially if it's a multicolored chest piece or something like that, or for camouflage or, the way the design is on it. I mean, you can change, 2 colors on it, but if the rest doesn't match, then that's no good for you. So, like Lou says, they know what was on those vendors. They know what the color schemes are. They can easily figure out, okay, all these are here in the game, and here's the ones that aren't there.
No, I think that was the opposite of what Lou said. I think Lou said that they didn't know what was on those vendors, and that was sad.
Well, no, they just didn't want to do it. They're just trying to make the player base, give them something to do to keep them busy. Is what it feels like.
Well, it's more
go
like
away, kid. Don't bother us.
Yeah, it had to come to a point to where someone coded in take these sets out of the game when they patched 4.0. And it's like, all right, so where's that list?
Right.
Someone had to make a conscious decision, remove these armor sets from the game. Someone program it. Okay. Where is it? Where'd it go?
Yeah. Or where's your database entries for those vendors?
Yeah,
you
where'd
removed
it go?
because they probably just removed the vendor, and of course everything that was on the vendor goes away too. So just find a list of your vendors, and there's your list of the gear. But, oh well.
All right. Well, since we're already kind of talking about it now, let's go ahead and move into the captain's log, and we're going to talk about our coffee experience. And I'm going to start off by what I noticed when I first logged in when the expansion hit. First off, all of my companions decided they didn't want to wear pants anymore. And also, they just felt the need to hand all their pants to me, as well as most of their weapons. And some of my companions didn't even want to take back the weapons they were using the night before.
Like, you know what? This is garbage. Here, hold my pants. I gotta do this.
At least Quinn wasn't going commando.
Well, it was sad because I finished my smuggler story, and at the end of every class story, there's always that scene where all your companions are standing there. And just like, I didn't notice that Corso and I were the only two people wearing pants until like everybody was standing there. And I'm like, get back on the ship, you scrubs.
Yeah. I seem to have gotten a lot of views on the video I posted where Corso proposed to Captain Kimbre without any pants on.
I guess we all know where that went.
The world will never know. I made him do it. I was like, he's not wearing pants. Let's see what he has to say to me without any pants on. And then he proposed. I was like, oh, that's what you have to say. Really? This is the time for that?
Awkward.
That reminds me of the bug from the Sith Warrior story on Corellia, when you send the one guy to your ship to be protected.
Mm-hmm.
Early on, all your companions would show up on the holocom with no clothes on. He's like, what the hell is going on with my ship?
Darth Valeron's having a little bit of fun.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Like, Ken Ball had pants. I'm like, you want these back? He's like, nah. Okay.
Alright, well, I don't know about you guys, but I have 20-some odd characters across 2 servers. And when the expansion first hit, it was a really time-consuming process to log on to all of them, put everybody's pants back on, get everybody a weapon that they're actually willing to use. And then I had several conversations that I had to have with every single companion before I could start coffee, because it pops up and tells you, you don't do these companion stories now, you're not going to be able to come back to them later.
Mm-hmm.
And I had one with Mako that's bugged. You talk to her, it starts the conversation, she stops, and it completes, but then you just have the companion quest title there and nothing else. And it's like, well, okay, Mako, I guess the hyperdrives did need to be fixed, but what else?
Oh, well, I had a couple of interesting experiences. Ever since I first made Sith Lord Corv, who was one of these characters that had to go through this, I was disappointed when I first found out that Lightside Jace couldn't be romanced. So Corv, never really had that special lady friend because Vet is not an option. But
Damn aliens.
once I had the ability to have all the conversations, I was talking to Jace, and progressively she started praising him as being this paragon of light and everything. And then toward the end, she was like, I'm going to dedicate myself to teaching all of your students and your offspring everything you've taught me and help them be paragons of light in the Empire as well. And then Corv was sly, and he was like, I'm powerful, you're powerful. We should produce offspring together. And she's like, I would be honored, Master. And then I went and talked to Vet, and we had a couple conversations, and then she's like, oh, I want you to do something special for me. We need to go to Nar Shaddaa. And I was like, that's as far as I'll ever get with Vet. Once you're asking me to go to another planet for you, we're done talking. I'm just going to go start coffee, and you're going to go away. Then on my Jedi night, I had an interesting experience. Shriek and C2N2 decided to morph into a very freaky transformer. And there's a video on our Facebook. There's a video on our Facebook page of me having a conversation with Shriek while she is a very warped C2N2, like stretching his fingers out like rakes.
It is absolutely terrifying. Like if you haven't, if you haven't viewed that on Facebook, give it a quick view because it's funny and horrifying. It's all good things in one, and you know it's like Shriek's voice, but then there's a monster there. So
yeah, I posted a picture of Shriek after you finish all chapters, and she's on your ship because they stick the Red Combat Droid customization on her. From C2N2, and it was just hilarious. It's like, Shriek, that hair removal cybernetic weight loss program really didn't work well for you.
I sent Lou a picture of C2N2 warped into Shriek's form, and C2N2 looks like he's sitting on top of that crate where Shriek always sits, but his insides that connect in the middle are crossed over one another. His arms are just kind of floating out to the sides and folded in really weird. And he has the quest symbol right above his head like a halo. And in the center of his chest it says, Shriek, your companion. So I sent that picture to Lou, and Lou was completely unfazed by this. He goes, yeah, I've seen some bugs. All my companions had no pants on.
It was just... you log in, and you just start seeing things happen in the game. You see the feedback in general chat, planet chat, and the early stuff on Twitter and at Facebook. Ooh, has anyone seen this yet? I'm like, oh my, okay.
Well, I followed up that reply, and I was like, so how did Shriek and C2N2 merge? And Lou says, completely unnatural, and we'll never speak of it ever.
Yes, we will never speak of it, ever.
No, it's just the infusion of Star Wars and Mass Effect.
She's turning into a Reaper.
Well, interestingly enough, the ship droid was completely gone. You can't find him on the ship right now. But once I took off his customization, it turned back into Shriek. But the ship droid's still just AWOL. I have no idea what happened to him.
That's a bug for a number of people with the ship droid. Because if you haven't started coffee, he should be there.
I also encountered a strange bug on my agent. I decided to bust out Ensign Temple, since I haven't ever really gotten to use her because she's DPS. And if you switch her to a tank or a healer right now, she has new dialogue that is voiced entirely by Kaleo.
Don't tell me she said dibs on the head.
No, they actually have new dialogue for all the roles.
Okay, cool.
And that was really surprising to me.
Well, they had all the companions in. I know that the lady who does the voice for Kaleo's twittered that she was, recording new lines, so that's cool.
New lines for Kaleo,
yeah,
and for Ensign Temple.
Yeah. Well, you know what they say: early access is kind of a beta for the full release.
It's totally a beta.
Oh man, going to pay your crew skills, like synth weavings. And Cybertech was like 600,000 credits. It's like, thank goodness I had just run Rishi and Yavin and built up a lot of credits.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of sick just doing the 3 Forged Alliance flashpoints. I think I got over 500,000.
Yep.
Credits roll in when you do those. And Lou and I teamed up for that, and I think we got through all 4 of the Forged Alliance flashpoints in, what'd you say, Lou, like an hour and a half?
Yeah, just a bit. Yeah, it's a little over a half.
We breezed right through that stuff.
The Jesus droid. 2 of them.
Yep, having 2 of them helps.
and 2 terrible Sith. The weird thing was, my actual level was like 57, and it didn't scale me down at all. But Lou was level 60 and was getting scaled down to 55.
Yeah. Yeah, I was amazed. Like, really? I got scaled the lowest out of all of this? Okay.
It's scaling you lower than the person that's actually in this.
Mhm.
Oh, that's funny.
And then I hit level 58 and it scaled me down to 55. So the level sync system is a little weird and hard to figure out.
Yeah. But doing some of the stuff on the planets, even dealing with the gold wasn't an issue, once you're 65, so...
Mhm.
And it was great. When I was playing with Lou, we had like a 10-minute conversation where we couldn't find his legendary player icon. So we're looking it up and everything, and then here it was there the entire time. It was just so small and unnoticeable that we didn't realize that it was there.
Yeah, and the thing is, I normally, when I run around, I don't have a nameplate displayed to myself. I just have it on other players and enemy players. I'm like, okay, all right, I'm seeing it. I ran around, so what the hell's mine? I'm like, oh yeah, look at that little. Okay, I guess I have to zoom in on my name. Oh, there it is. That's cool.
Well, it's interesting running around. There's a lot of people that don't have that. And comment I saw from Shintar in the Going Commando blog was it's kind of interesting that either that or Blessing of Kings, to have the 8 class icons there on the load screen is going to get to some people who are completists, because they're going to want to fill up all 8 of those class things to get the legendary buff.
I'm one of them. I have 3 classes that I got to chapter 3 of the class story and just quit playing them for one reason or another.
Right.
But you gotta watch all the class stories. That way you get all the little hints and all the characters from the entire expansion.
I know, but some of them are just so terrible. Like, how many more times are they going to make that poor trooper go back to the Coruscant Senate Tower? Like, it's so terrible. I really hate that. And that's not to say that I don't play the class or the characters. Like, my smuggler was level 60, and I just never bothered to finish his class story. It was just sitting in the log gray, and once coffee hit and I saw those icons, I'm like, all right, we're going to go knock out the smuggler story.
Yeah.
And it was kind of unfortunate being scaled down. It took a little bit of effort.
Yeah, and you really start, once you do that, you really start to see the little chapters that you have on Rishi with each of the classes are really a modest little epilogue. They're really tying a lot of initial game stuff off at that point.
Can you believe that Darmus Polaran actually had the gall to beg for his life? Like, after what he pulled, there was no letting him live.
Right. Yeah.
As far as that senator went, though, like, she was already in some slave's clothes, scrubbing floors, so she was cool the way she was.
Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it like that. That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was okay. So I was satisfied with how that went. Darth, what can I give you to walk out of here? Nothing. Pew, pew.
Yeah, he spent a lot of time flirting with me, so I had to kill him.
Yeah.
Yep.
I just didn't appreciate when he called me a stupid captain or whatever in that hollow thing I saw. Could have been faked, but I didn't care. He had to die.
Well, there's a reason we don't let you fly the ship.
I don't have a license.
They took it away.
I'm legally blind.
Do you even have eyes?
I used to. I believe they're in the jar over there next to Master Orgus's head.
And he can't see well through the Force either, so...
Or through the pickle juice. Go dust that jar, janitor. I can't see you.
Come here, Treat. Rub your body up against that jar.
Oh, you're just smearing stuff all over it.
Yes. Now you really can't see.
We need to put Treek in the washing machine.
She likes that, especially the spin cycle.
Burps up suds when she's in bed with Lou for weeks.
Alright, I'll get my feet off ID10T. Start putting the water in.
But we have to take the dishes out of him first.
I feel like the cutscenes and copy are absolutely gorgeous. And there was something that I mentioned to Fred the other day that I don't know if anyone else paid close attention to. And I don't really feel like this is a spoiler. Everyone knows you have conversations with Arkin. And he's the twin with the mask covering half of his face. When
the one that's alive.
Yeah, the one that's still there. Yes. Wearing the white. All right. So, he's got the thing on his face. When they do close-ups of his face during a cutscene and you're having dialogue with him, if you look at his face carefully, the mask is covering his mouth. He's speaking to you, and of course the mask isn't moving because I guess it's holding his face together. But if you look at his cheekbones and like that, the jawline that he has, you can still see his face moving. And of course, like his eyebrows and his forehead and everything as he's having the conversation with you. And I think that that's a nice attention to detail because, his mouth is covered. So they could have just been lazy and be like, well, his mouth ain't going to move anyway. But they're making his face move like, he's really speaking to you. And I just think it's really beautiful the way they do that. Did anybody else notice? No?
I did.
I don't know if I noticed it on that, but I do remember Revan doing it because you could see his cheekbones and jaw move behind his facial mask. So it's cool. It's a nice
mask
detail.
Would bend with his jaw.
Yeah, like this mask on Arkin doesn't move. Like
right.
it seems like it's a big solid metal piece. Whereas, like, if you're wearing like a ninja mask, you move your jaw, you can see it. But like they're letting the exposed parts of his face are actually moving, and it's done so well.
Yes, yeah, it definitely brings you into the moment there because you get that automatic reaction to it. That human. It's like, oh, he's talking. You see the body parts move and stuff. So what do you think the hidden message is in the fact that Valkyrian looks exactly like George Lucas and that Arkin looks like Eric Musco?
He does not look like George Lucas.
He's an old man with a beard.
It's a drop.
Doesn't mean they look the same. You really are blind. Sit down. Somebody help him in the chair.
Alright, fine. So Valkyrian looks like Sean Connery.
No. Again, no.
Where's Money Penny?
That sounded like Yoda doing Sean Connery.
Yeah, pretty much.
Where's Money Penny? Help me we can. Yes.
I think more looks like Ted Ferguson.
A little bit. I can see that. Oh my god, especially in this picture where he looks like he's so mad.
So Lou.
Oh, except those eyebrows. Ew.
So Lou.
So I had the eyebrows, but okay, better. All right. Well, when I first logged into Kotvi, all right, the first thing that hit me was the 8 class icons on the left part of the screen. Okay, and I saw the 8 out of 8. Like, yeah, I've completed all 8 stories. Oh, that's cool. At least they recognize that fact. They gave you the kudos right off the bat, saying, "Hey, by the way, if you haven't done it, you're only 3 out of 8. You're only 4 out of 8, 5 out of 8." And just to go back on that, not only for completionists, but in the past, I've always said, if you're going to play Star Wars: Old Republic, play all the classes. Play all 8 class stories because you're going to get the entire story. If you only play one faction because you're a Republic, just like I tell you, you're a Republic diehard, Imperial diehard, and that's all you ever play, and that's all you've ever played for the life of the game so far, you are seriously doing yourself a disservice because you're missing half the story. Like a lot of folks, if you've ever noticed, okay, especially on Corellia, one thing you do, okay, what does the Sith Warrior do on Corellia? Okay, spoiler if you haven't done it yet. Okay, what is one of your missions? You're gonna go. Or what does the Empire do? I think, or the Warrior. I'm trying to remember. You're going through one of the museums, destroying Jedi artifacts as you're clearing it. And I think on the night, what you're doing, I think you're seeing the aftermath. It's like you're just on the Sith Warrior's heels after that person has cleared, the area. Like you're seeing what was, the results of it.
Well,
Okay, in reaction to that, so for a lot of folks, you really should do all 8 stories just to get the entire picture, and you really appreciate the writing, for the first 50 levels of the game, and then it helps you tie into what Taki has brought in, or Bioware was brought back into the game.
It's hard for me to remember what I was actually doing on Corellia, because right before I went there, one of my jerk companions told me I had to go get a special antenna, and then he tried to kill me, and then I force choked him, and for some reason I just couldn't bring my lightsaber through him.
You do slap him a lot, though, and he cries.
He begged for mercy. That's when I
Yes.
stuck him in the brig with the Treek, when I fed him beans.
Mercy. I don't know the meaning of the word.
That's cruel and unusual punishment to Treek.
That is I was going to say the cruel and unusual punishment to anyone to have to be stuck in that long for Treek. I remember when he did to me; it was terrible.
And the second thing I did like right off the bat, this is just log in. Finally seeing your character, I guess, in 3/4 view after how long? Okay.
Because they had that bug, and then they actually made it so you can see more of your character, which is cool.
Well,
Yeah.
they had that bug, and then when they fixed that bug, every time you'd log out of the game, the first character you were selected was like halfway down and wasn't lined up right.
Mm-hmm.
And then you click on other ones to fix it. So I didn't think they were ever going to fix that bug, but the new login screen looks great.
Yeah, you actually see the full bridge of your class ship, which is nice. You get to see a good part of it. And maybe one day they'll actually give you a full view of your character. Like a lot of other
since
games
it's
do.
actually further back now, it doesn't look like my chest piece is finger painted together.
No, it does look a lot better. And I did like the fact too, they gave us the free level 60 slot if you were a sub. Okay. Gave that option. They gave us another slot too. On top of that. I was expecting, X amount, oh wait, I got 2 more slots? The free level 60 and another one? Cool. I'll take that.
Yeah, if I would have had 40 character slots on one server before, I wouldn't be on 2 servers now.
Yeah.
Just saying.
But character transfers, they're there.
So
Start
first
moving
they
them back.
forced me out, now I should give them
Yeah.
money to come back.
Come back
You
in.
betcha.
Yeah, that's right.
But
That's
I
how
have
they got
friends
you.
on both servers now. And most of my characters are duplicates of ones I already have on the other server.
Maybe one day they'll implement cross-server communication.
Oh, now we're really stretching.
They'll do that when they have cross-server queues.
But it's something better than cross-server.
Actually, no. After cross-server queues.
All right.
I would wager to bet that we'll probably see cross-server queues and still not get that functionality.
Yeah, because that's actually harder.
Oh, but to dream, we're gonna dream big, folks. We can do it. And then, starting off the Knights of Fallen Empire expansion, obviously clicking that little icon on your ship. Yeah, I love the fact that they did tell you, hey, you're about to start Knights of Fallen Empire. Just in case you haven't finished anything.
Hey, you're about to wake up in a bathtub full of ice with the hollow communicator.
I did like that fact that it's like, you know what? Yeah, the amount of times they warned you, you can't go back. You sure you want to do this? Are you sure you want to press the big red button? Are you sure?
I'm
But
glad
it's so
you mentioned
shiny.
that, though, because we were led to believe beforehand that all of your quests would just go away as soon as you accepted this. And then when the pop-up comes, it tells you it's just your companion and your class story.
Yes.
Well, I'm like trying to abandon that damn Ilum quest, and it just will not go away. Can't
Yeah, I
abandon
was
it.
hoping that it would get rid of that.
It does get rid of the Elm one.
No,
it
I
doesn't.
don't mind.
Oh, well, they had said it would get rid of all the main planetary arcs because they became your class story. So I guess Ilum was no longer a planetary arc. Oh God.
Oh, poor Ilum.
But you know,
Its own.
oh, and of course now it's worse because your levels sync. But once you get 65, you could probably blow through it, even sink down in half an hour to an hour.
Keep you running with the level 64 and you won't be synced down at all, but the level 65 will be down to level 50.
Yeah. Oh, the irony in that.
No, level 52 because I was on Ilum as well. So
Okay. Yeah, I haven't got back yet to run those dailies. And that's one thing I do like. So I'm glad I haven't seen it on the forums or anywhere else. Like, say, oh my God, I didn't believe this. This happened. Like, really? The amount of times I told you you can't go back, Dorothy. You can't go back to Oz. Clicking your heels.
never come back,
Yeah.
Charlie.
All right, so I was grateful that happened. And then, wow, just to see from the get-go, Chapter 1, just the level of detail they put into the story, all right from the gate. I felt like I was actually back in one of BioWare's traditional single-player RPGs with the level of detail and how they gave you the story, how they revealed it to you as each chapter went along. Okay, I honestly felt like I was playing something, on the level of Neverwinter Nights. Okay, Baldur's Gate. All right, the Mass Effect series.
Dragon Age.
Yeah, Dragon. That level of complexity and that depth of story that you were getting. For some folks, all right, it might be cutscene heavy, but you know what? They're giving you this grand, overarching story that they're delivering us, here and there. We have the first 9 chapters now. Okay, more to come. And as they've said, yeah, they're going back to the storytelling roots for the game. And once you play through the first 9 chapters, that's something you're going to walk away and go, yeah, bleeping hell, this is exactly, what BioWare does best. Taking, these great stories, bringing them to life, and making players go, wow, I want to do this again. Another character.
That is exactly what I said at the end of it all. I can't wait to do this on someone else.
Yeah, she
You know-
said that, and Paige is normally the negative Nancy.
Listen, what I was gonna say, it wasn't gonna throw me down like you just did. I'm very, very hard to impress, and I was just like, I can't wait to do it again. I was so excited.
well, and especially because there's a couple of points in the storyline where it's like, not only do I want to take this character, come taking one light, one dark. There's 2 other characters I specifically want to run through, avoiding spoilers, just because of the events of the story. I want to see certain interactions happen.
Yes, that was one of my things too. I have a light side character, have a middle of the road character. I've already done dark side, and then I'm like, well, I want to meet this person on this character, and it's just craziness. I must do it.
Right. Sorry to interrupt, Lou.
No. That's actually great.
Oh,
those,
yeah.
those are all great points. Like, exactly. I felt the same way. It's like, when I finished my first character, I was like, holy bleep, I got to do this again. My other characters now.
I feel like a toddler. Do it again. Do it again.
Exactly. I need more coffee, and oh, damn it, I have to go to work. Can't do
Oh
this.
god, that was my problem. I was playing at night, after I got home from work, and then I'd be like, man, I gotta go to bed. Took me 2 days.
Awesome.
Adulting is
Well-
so hard, man.
No.
Well, and the hard thing, too, is the decision is, do I play more Comfy, or do I watch the Star Wars Awaken trailer yet again?
I know, right?
Or do I, watch the trailer for inspiration and then go back to copy?
Yeah.
We'll see.
Or you do both and have dual monitors, like me.
Yeah.
Gaming, platform.
I had the other kind of situation arise where about 3-4 days before coffee was going to hit, I was like, I want to play one of those old BioWare single-player RPGs so that I can look and see if coffee actually reminds me of one of those. So I went back to Dragon Age Origins, and that's not the kind of game that you can just walk away from. So now I find myself alternating between Coffee and Dragon Age Origins. And I've spent 16 hours in freaking Dragon Age Origins, and I didn't remember the game being that long.
Sounds like
you
some
have barely
coffee.
scratched the surface.
Yeah, seriously, you barely scratch Origins, Dragon Age Origins.
And then I'm like, I got Awakening still, and then I got Dragon Age 2. And
Well, and all the DLC, if you do that.
haven't even played Inquisition yet.
Yeah.
It's going to be a long Dragon Age trip. But I've been working Coffee in there too. But that just shows you how much a BioWare story can grip you.
Mm-hmm. And that's exactly one of the best, I guess, features for this expansion. The fact that they've taken that, they've invested all that time, and it's definitely shown itself. Okay, the talent of those writers, how they put it together, how the entire team just put it there and have you unfold it with every class you run it through, with the different nuances there. Obviously, acknowledging whatever character you're on. Okay, you're going to know, those people are going to know you're Sith Warrior. They're going to know that you're you're Imperial agent, all right, or that you're a Jedi Knight. Okay, they're going to give you those little tips of the hat. They're going to say, yes, we know what you've done. We know what your past. Okay, it's not going to be generic. It's going to be specific things that you've done. If you've leveled normally from 1 to 50, okay, all your accomplishments there are going to recognize, and that's what makes you so dangerous and so formidable, and someone worthy of respect from Valkorion himself. All right.
I was very pleased that they repeatedly kept acknowledging things that were class specific to me.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't feel like it was just one story that everybody gets the same exact deal. It felt like a lot of it was custom tailored for the class you were playing.
Right. And again, that makes it more special. It actually makes the player more invested in their characters, even more so. Okay, the time we take to make these characters dark side, light side, the appearances we give them from the alpha design once that released. Okay, even though we have seen disasters on the fleet, that people of the fleet.
Did anybody see the bug that you can be an Imperial or Republic player and be on the opposite faction's fleet, capital world? Or
I heard about that,
planet?
but how do you get there?
This is spoilers, so you may want to
No,
edit this out.
hang on.
Okay,
Is
never
this
mind
going to
then.
be an exploit?
I
No,
don't know, but it's
Well,
it's
let's
out
not
there.
talk about it
Yeah.
on the show then.
Right.
If it's a
But
spoiler,
there
then-
is a way to, I can tell you after the show.
Okay.
But, there is a way to do it, and they're probably going to close it off. How the heck someone figured it out, I don't know, because it may have been there all along.
Did they get flagged for PvP if they're on the opposite faction's fleet?
Yes. Well, no, on the fleet, on the planet, yes. Capital, yeah, they will get flagged.
Right.
Fleet is
But
a,
I was
neutral Earth and no dueling zone, so there's no way that would happen anyways.
right because I saw a picture of Snave on the fleet. One of the guards was trying to attack him, and he was just sitting there dancing, doing and not being hit.
The GD Snave.
Yeah.
So, so if this can happen, when are we going to get the for the Republic, for the Empire achievements?
So many Snaves on a plane. So many Snaves.
For the Horde, I mean, for the Empire.
Probably after they can make Ilum work.
Ooh.
Oh, ouch, ouch.
Let,
man.
let's focus on the good now.
Yeah, man. What? Wow.
Back to the positive story.
So far, I'm loving what they did with Coffee. I think they really stepped up their storytelling game. Well,
Agreed.
the way they portray the story, I would say. And
I think they did step up the storytelling game. I feel like the way it grasped you is very similar to the way the agent story all wrapped up. They kept that they're keeping that mystery even ongoing after the first couple chapters.
if they really wanted to mirror the class story thing, there should just be like 7 different points for the trooper specifically where they got to go back to the Senate Tower on Coruscant.
Just for the trooper.
Yeah, just if they really want to invoke the feelings of your old class story nostalgia, go to the Senate Tower. Everybody else, pull out your holo communicator.
Actually, once you're done with Chapter 9 and you're building your alliance, you do end up either going to the Senate Tower, or I forget where. I don't know where. Yeah, for a reason. But or if you're Empire, you go somewhere else. But it is kind of amusing.
So the Empire goes to the better place.
Right.
So,
It's
any
funny.
predictions on who our new Emperor is going to be?
Me.
No.
It is I.
I didn't vote for you.
Well,
That's the point of an emperor. You aren't elected.
I'm voting on Darth Malgus.
Speaking of Malgus, so it seems more and more likely that trailer was just a one-off inclusion because he hasn't shown up yet.
I don't think so. Remember, there's still more chapters to come.
yeah,
and
that's
the,
true. They
the
promised
Empire is
that.
going to need a new leader.
Well, don't forget too. A lot of times, people, when they're doing the creative stuff, will prototype a lot of things, and just because it's in the prototype stage doesn't mean that's what they were originally going to do. The guys at Blur, like Malgus, they were trying to put him in and make it work. It just didn't work for the flow of the trailer. So there's no guarantee that Malgus would ever show up.
I don't think that they would just include Malgus if they weren't given the green light for that.
See, there
No.
are two things in Star Wars that are guarantees. One, if you fall down a large pit in any location, you're still alive. And two, you always have a bad feeling about things. Always.
No, because surviving falling down the pit is now legend.
Well, do
So
you
is this
remember?
game.
Yeah.
Do you remember in the original Star Wars movies when Leia and Luke have that Force connection and they come and get Luke and he's like on top of he's hanging from that pointy thing and they come and grab him with the Millennium Falcon?
Yep.
There's going to be a part in The Force Awakens where you just see Malgus sitting on top of the Millennium Falcon looking angry like they came and rescued him when he went down the pit. Wonderful. I want Malgus to come back. He's the only one fit to lead the Empire now.
Outside of, Darth Buckeye.
You care too much about numbers and you already sold out to the enemy.
No.
Soon
no.
as the Empire takes over again, we will cut you down and throw you in the power core.
I'm actually not made of the same energy, Trix feces is, so it's not
I
as
don't give a
useful.
damn. We use Jawas, not Trix species.
Aren't they the same thing?
Just remember,
we use
it's-
Trix feces to make Palais oatmeal. Thank you very much.
Just remember, that's why I don't eat
spoilers.
oatmeal.
Spoilers. Sorry, Palais.
Just remember, in Star Wars, everybody can get shafted.
But
We call that a fade to black moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And another thing I really do like they brought up coffee is, I guess the level of interaction that you've seen between the characters. Okay, previously in the other cutscenes during the game, it would be very short, quick and to the point, not a whole lot of going on. And at least now with, I guess to bring back that more obviously the cinematic feel to the conversations, you really get to appreciate, more of what your characters are going through because of the level of dialogue they're speaking, the quality of it. How it's like they literally are doing a movie because how they notice that they pan back, they zoom in, all right? How they hold the conversations really gives a dramatic effect.
they've made it a cinematic experience.
Yeah, exactly. They made it more of a cinematic experience. So they're actually sitting down watching a Star Wars movie.
Well, and they also give you dialogue while you're doing stuff. You're not actually in a cutscene sometimes, and that caught me off guard at first. Like, wait, who said what?
Yeah, exactly. Especially, for folks who haven't played it yet, incoming spoiler alert, when you're first broken out, okay, the Carbonite, okay, and you're having these conversations with Lana as you're moving along, I realized, what the hell just happened? Is that background dialogue from other people? No, she's actually talking to me. My my characters are responding like,
Is that
oh,
background dialogue?
yeah. It's like, well, that's one thing too. I mean, that's a great thing too. But that Bioware does well too is the fact that if you notice other games that Bioware does, okay, you will have NPCs when you walk by them, they'll talk about things. Okay.
Some of them will talk smack about you until you get close to them, and then they quit talking.
Right, and I think it's something too that Brian from Bad Opinion Podcast had mentioned. Okay, that when you know some of the background dialogue from the NPCs, I told him, hey, you know what? If you're on Hutta, you're playing an agent or bounty hunter. You'll hear two guys talking about one guy's got to make a quick run to Ord Mantell and run guns and weapons and supplies to the Separatists. Okay, and what happens? One of the missions there, you're actually taking on someone who's bringing on, or you go into a warehouse where someone just landed and is unloading weapons to these Separatists.
Or the canteen in Rishi. I never noticed this till just recently. There's two pirates there. One's a White Maw, one's a Deathclaw, and they're comparing life on Terrace and off. It's hilarious.
See, it's all the whole point of playing all the class stories in. You get a much more rounded and broader picture of the entire universe that they're trying to paint.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, and again, people take the time, look for these things. You really appreciate just exactly the depths that the team has gone through to bring this out to us. And I myself, I can't wait to finish catching the rest of my characters, chapter 9, and get ready for the next set. Another thing too is I guess trying to avoid the power bloat, ability bloat. I know for a lot of folks there was a lot of concern about, oh my God, they're taking away one of the points from us from our discipline tree. Okay, playing through Coffee the first couple of times right now, I didn't think it really affected me. Okay. Obviously, with the new expansion, things will change, so you just go through the changes, adapt to it, and see how it goes. All right. One thing I will mention too is the fact that I didn't like to think. All right, every MMO does this, where, you went through all this titanic effort to get all this great gear, and all of a sudden, what's the first thing you get off a trash mob in the new zone? Like, wow, that is seriously an upgrade.
I know I was sad when I was upgrading my 126 purples with greens.
And I'm just like, okay, my elite gear this is better than my elite gear. Okay. It's a green. I just got off of this guy. Cool.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, the hard mode rating gear, it's different. You can live with it for a bit.
Yeah.
But I mean, I still understand. It's like all you have to do is go in and fall on trash mob in an operation, or the first boss down, and everything's an upgrade.
Well, let's do this really quick. I'm gonna call on each of you. Tell me what you like the most so far and what you like the least about the new expansion. Start with you, Buckeye.
I like the most how your first time through, because it feels like the choices actually have weight and they will impact what happens going forward. That I actually had to take some time to consider, the pros and cons of certain choices that happen throughout the expansion. So that's something that really, really caught me. From the negative side, I'm still somewhat jaded that there's no new operation. And it's all still old content. Granted, some of the old content's really fun and can be challenging at times, but the fact that there's nothing new for the end game is definitely a little bit of a disappointment.
Okay, and Paige?
I think my favorite part is how it makes me feel. I know that's a really girly answer, but it actually makes me feel excited to be back in it. I kind of took a little bit of a break, and I was doing other things for a while. And then as soon as it released, when I got home that day, that's all I did that night. And that's all I did the next night. And I have not had an experience like that with SWTOR in a while. So really love the way it makes me feel. That's just, I'm so excited. And my biggest disappointment, I don't think I can say without spoiling, so I'm just not going to say.
So, a story disappointment?
Yeah, companion disappointment, I would say.
Well, Talos is part of the vanilla game, so you can share that if you want.
No, we're not talking about Talos.
Are you okay?
No pants.
Okay.
Uh,
I actually, where was he at?
in the power core.
Wait, where did I put him? Why do I feel like I didn't? Oh, I didn't have any conversations with him because he's already max affection. So that's why I didn't actually go find him and talk to him. So he's probably not wearing pants.
I know, you were just happy when you maxed him out and he didn't end up being one of those companions that relentlessly hit on you like Andronicus. You only had to reject him like 15 times.
I really had to reject him a lot.
Andronicus is the Star Wars Jack Sparrow.
Oh,
There should be a captain in there somewhere.
I don't know which one of them you just insulted more.
It was the depth of the insult.
Play.
I, like everybody else, I love the story. It just drew me in and got me going. I'm just excited, and there was so much in there. I was initially going to go, I thought, I can run one light side, one dark side, and pretty much have everything done, and then I'll get to my other characters as I'm bored. But I ran through the story and wow, these events, I really want to run more characters through to see how certain things react based on the story. There's lots of stuff in there. I mean, they really took some chances with stuff in the game. So I'm happy. I'm happy to see that. I'm happy to be involved. It's a lot of fun. I mean, I came home, I started playing, and I played straight through, 8 hours straight. I streamed it on Hitbox, recorded it, and it's just wow. That definitely has been a long time since a game has grabbed me like that and kept me playing. I think the thing that made me most disappointed, and this is kind of ironic for an MMO, is running through the story and running into other players, because that was jarring.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. You know what? You saying that actually, it does make me think of a disappointment. I like all the sorry, I'm trying to make words. All of the phases are personal, and I totally understand why. And that's, it makes sense because it's supposed to be your story, but I don't play the game to play by myself. I play to play with Fred, and we can't. I mean, we can, but it won't count for each other, so it's I'd have to do it twice. So they're my only complaint.
Right, and you can actually summon a party member to play an instance with you like that, and it's really weird for starting with some of the McKeb and then Rishi Yavin and all that, because then you have to do this twice. But it was so, when this is my story, and they did very well. The server stayed stable with all these personal instances going on, and people doing stuff. Yeah, well, the Harbinger, that
Hamsters.
they just feed hamsters into that meat grinder.
Not
But,
to derail you, but on launch night, Harbinger was the only server that had a 25-minute queue, and
Yeah.
Jedi Covenant and Shadowlands were both heavy.
Yeah.
With instant login.
Yeah, it just, but when I'm going through my class story and all of a sudden I see the green personal phase portal, and then I see someone mounting up on the other side, that was jarring. I would have rather BioWare just kept us all, because they were doing so well, is just kept us all in that single player story focus and just let us run all the way through till we're at the end of, or in chapter 9, and then start showing us other people when we're on, some of the new hubs and things like that. When they're showing us here's all the stuff that you can do now as a casual player on in-game, how you build your alliance and stuff like that. So that would be, it just feels like some of the stuff was we need to remind people this is an MMO and here's your token interaction with other players, but it didn't feel like there was really a story reason for you to be doing that. So I would have just preferred to have gone through it completely in personal phases and not seen other players until the end. It just seemed like an odd choice. So that would be the one downside I'd have. The other things, the quibbles and things I have are, I hope certain characters are developed better, but because we're effectively in the halfway point, I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. I want to see how everything resolves itself at chapter 16, because I could be negative about a character right now and see some really interesting development along the way that would completely change my mind about the character. So until we start talking about the story in more detail, I'm kind of avoiding any potential spoiler, because I would like to say at some point is, here's my thoughts on these things at this point in the game.
Right.
And then come back when I've seen everything and say, I agree with my initial points, or I was completely wrong, and they surprised me. Because there's some very interesting things going on. And I saw a tweet from Zamzam who said, also make sure you do the new heroics, their quote-unquote Flashpoint Star Fortresses, because there is some story content in there.
Story.
Yes. So.
Well,
but
we're
and
probably gonna talk about one chapter every week moving forward. So starting next week, we'll probably be talking about chapter 1.
Right. And I will say it reminded me a lot of Mass Effect 2, and for me that's a good thing because I thoroughly enjoyed Mass Effect 2. So having that vibe is a good sign for me from BioWare.
Just don't start playing it again; it'll suck you in.
Oh, I know. I have a character part
will.
to Mass Effect
I've
1
done
because
my
at
best
one
to stay
point-
away from it.
Yeah, I was going to run through all 3 with a single character again just to do something different. It's like, no, that's a major time sink. Let me just stay away for a while. Because Star Wars is going to keep me busy. I want to see all this stuff, do all this stuff, run all my characters through, see how it feels.
That's why you do Dragon Age, so you got your space game and your medieval game.
Oh, yeah. Well, Star Wars, I can be the space ninja wizard, as Snave would say.
Yeah, it's true.
All right, Lou. So early impressions. What's your favorite and least favorite things?
Well, I feel I'm not jumping the bandwagon here, but yeah, the story for Codfee that they've given us so far for the first 9 chapters, this is classic, epic BioWare storytelling in the making. Okay? As I mentioned before earlier in the podcast, this is what they're famous for. This is what they do. Okay, and very few in the industry do it as well as they do. Okay, there's a reason BioWare holds that high regard in terms of when they do a game that's involving, deep story, epic lines. They are there. You look to them and go, yeah, they'll do it. They'll do it right. Okay, no one will question that, because if you've played any of the other games in the past, holy bleep, yeah, they can write. Okay, they can present characters, they can develop characters in these games that you honestly feel attached to. You feel when things happen. Okay, you have players who rage quit or go, go on social media and go, what the bleep just happened? Playing this game. I reached a major crux in this game and this happened. What the hell? Or what do I do? Okay, and that's the feeling I got playing the first 9 chapters on 2 of my characters so far. Okay, so far I've played it on my Operative and I played it on my Sentinel, or the Jedi Knight. And I'm walking away every time going, my God, this is great. Okay, this is what people who enjoy BioWare games, this is what we like. This is what we like to do. Okay, this is why we give them the money. And to see this epic development of our characters. Okay, these, the depth that they want to portray. Okay, they put you in these situations and they want you to say, okay, what are you going to do? How is this going to affect you? All right. And obviously, we'll see that unveiled as every month goes on, as they give us a new chapter. Okay, but this is something that everyone should be, I look forward to. And so far, I'm not disappointed at all. Okay, this is something worthy investment. Okay, it's why we enjoy the game. It's why we play Star Wars: Old Republic. We want to be part of this timeline and have these stories and go out there and play it. One of the things though I didn't enjoy was being on on the new areas. Some of the areas, okay, when you see the other players, okay, yeah, this is kind of take away from the fact that okay, this is supposed to be your own personal story, all right, but I understand, okay, limited server resources, and you're not really doing anything anyway except pursuing your own line, your own storyline, okay, but it does kind of take away from the moment of all right, you're the Outlander, things happen. Okay, you're trying to remedy the situation, and all of a sudden you're running into other players.
All Outlanders form up on the left.
Yeah, I mean, not only from your own faction, but from the opposite faction too. It's like, wow, whoa, okay, what's going on here? All right, and then just another little quibble too. Again, as I mentioned before, okay, it doesn't help that some of the gear that I spent time investing myself in, taking time to get and obtain. All of a sudden, what do I get when I first play? Boom, stuff that just it doesn't automatically make it away, but you look at it, and go, okay, you know what? I can make the hard decision right now. So yeah, that is an upgrade. And I got off of this quest or this pack of trash mobs. Wow, really? We fell into that MMO trap. I understand the need for new gear. Again, the proverbial carrot and the stick. But again, do your best. Don't trivialize what players have done in the past. All right, especially your subscribers, to where they've been playing the past 3 or 4 years. They've busted their butts to get this level, this quality of gear, and all of a sudden, boom! What happens? And they play your first, this expansion. Okay, you pretty much nullified a lot of their work.
Yeah, and orange gear seems to be scarce compared to the way it used to just fall like candy from everything.
Well, you don't need orange gear. You only need one set of orange gear.
Don't lie to me, wizard.
Well, they are trying to build up the crafting market, so there's so the crafters will have stuff to sell. So that's why there's not a lot. And then, of course, it also allows them to make more money off the cartel market because they're selling orange gear on the cartel market.
True. I just don't like how they went back and turned things that used to be orange green, but that's a story for earlier in the podcast.
My story.
My favorite thing about this expansion so far has actually been level sync, because now I can get back on all my characters that I quit playing because they're on a planet where everything's gray to them, and I'm so much of a completionist I don't want to leave. And I can actually get on there and finish those planets and actually progress while I'm doing it. And it's amazing. And I still feel like I'm overpowered if I outlevel a planet, so I don't think that they watered you down too much with level sync.
No, with all your abilities and extra things, you are powerful. Though sadly, they did unfortunately remove the Matrix Cube and the shards.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
And
Matrix Cube was awesome. I miss those days.
Mm-hmm.
my least favorite part about this expansion is how the crew window moved to the B button and added a new companion window to the N button. And now when I want to open my inventory, I got to press I instead of B. And it just ruins
Inventory has
everything.
always been I.
Yeah.
It used to be B for backpack, too.
No, it was
Oh.
originally I, and then they added B because so many people are used to hitting B for bags from WoW.
Yeah.
Until every button on that keyboard is mapped to something, there should be no reason that they move something away.
You should just remap everything to inventory.
It's terrible. horrible, horrible, horrible. They should have found some way to integrate the crew skills into the new companion window.
I mean, you and I talked about this last night, where you know how you have your journal and it has the 4 separate tabs. They could have done the same thing with the crew window. He's like, why didn't they do that? You already had a system in place where that works. Like, you can go to my lockouts, codex, my achievement. Okay, my quest journal.
Enchantment.
Yeah.
Enchantment?
Though that does show up, you know, the crafting window is the old window, and then you go to the crew school, and there's this nice big new window, and it's like, you can see some of the old crafting from the game. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
All right. Speaking of old cruft, we're gonna move into the Star Wars recommendation of the week. Paige, what do you got for us this week?
This is a good one.
It better be. It's making its debut for the first time in several episodes.
All right. This comes from, wait for it, Apple. That's right. And I'm going to read the overview. Bringing a new part of Star Wars The Force Awakens into your home, BB-8 is the app-enabled droid whose authentic movements are at your control with iPhone or iPad. BB-8 relates to your interactions, showing a range of expressions and actually perking up at the sound of your voice commands. Set it to patrol and watch your droid explore autonomously. What?
autonomous.
There you go.
Autonomously.
Autonomously. All right. Or shut up. Or make up your own adventure and guide BB-8 yourself. Even create a new. I'm really like bombing this. Even create and view holographic recordings. It's now possible to explore the galaxy with your own trusty astromech droid by your side. BB-8 is more than a toy, it's your companion. Rather than using the Force, BB-8 is powered by induction charging and connects via Bluetooth Smart BLE with your iPhone, iPad, or other device. It's tough polycarbonate. What? Carbonate? Is that it? That's not right.
Do you want Buckeye to read this for you?
Words are hard.
It
Polycarbonate.
really is.
Polycarbonate.
Yeah, that's how the Empire would say it.
Anyway, I'm from the South. I say whatever I want. Highlights. Authentic movement that you guide with your iPhone or iPad. Listening and response capabilities let BB-8 recognize and react to your voice. There's that word again. Behavior gives BB-8 a mind of its own as you explore the Star Wars galaxy together. Adaptive personality means BB-8's attitude and actions evolve as you interact. There you go.
Enchantment?
No.
So with this thing's made by Apple?
Yeah. You can
So
buy it on... What?
Obviously, it's a tool of the dark side of the Force.
That's just
It's
why
actually
you should buy
it's
it.
made by Spiro, and they're selling it on the store.
Yeah, that's what it is.
There's a
and
joke on
Crap.
there's a joke on OtiniCast. Tio has one in the camera shots, and it's still in the box. And everybody's like, "Open it! Open it!" And he
It's
hasn't.
Condition.
$150.
I have a similar system. I throw Twizzlers at Pelé and he presses buttons on ID10T. Now make him roll.
I just kick him for that.
Now, janitor. There we go. Such a happy little broken droid. And then, also making its re-debut, I can make up words too, Paige. The Intelligence Report. What do you
wasn't
got
even
for us this
listening.
week, Lou?
And this week, we're bringing you the Republic Strategic Information Service. Part 1. It's going to be a long version, folks. Stay tuned. Spying for the good guys. The Republic Strategic Information Service, most commonly known simply as the SIS, or Republic Intelligence, was the Galactic Republic's domestic and foreign intelligence agency during the Great Galactic War and the following period of political unrest. Although the agency existed prior to the Great War's initiation in 3,681 years before the Battle of Yavin, as a monitoring and decryption arm of the Senate Library. Yes, the library. The rapid expansion of the conflict prompted the Galactic Senate to shift the group from a small-scale decryption agency to a full-fledged information and espionage bureau. The SIS was much younger, smaller, and was stretched thinner than its intelligence counterpart in the Sith Empire. That's right. Yet it served efficiently during the Great War and the subsequent Cold War. In 3643, before the Battle of Yavin, under the direction of Marcus Trant, Agent Theron Shan undertook a mission to the Vessel system to find and gain information about the Sith Empire from Jedi Master Nagani Zhou. In the process, Shan discovered the Empire's secret warship builder, the Sunraiser, designed by Dark Lord of the Sith, Darth Mekis. Shan destroyed the Sunraiser, and the resulting political fallout pushed the Republic and Empire ever closer to a renewed full-out war. The agency was also called in to investigate the theft of secret plans for the Republic's superweapon, the Planet Prison. Through the investigation, the plans were recovered, and the designer of the superweapon, Dr. Tarnus, was revealed to be a Sith Lord. Sorry, folks, that was a spoiler. With this, secret Republic research, such as the Power Guard Project, were put at risk, and the SIS and Jedi moved to secure the projects from Sith control. Overview. The Republic SIS, again, was the espionage agency of the Galactic Republic. It was smaller, younger, and it managed a small network of spies and informants than its intelligence counterpart in the Empire. It was still an effective intelligence service. It was an agency of the Senate Library before the war. It was charged by the Senate with monitoring and decryption duties. With the outbreak of the war, they became responsible for providing intelligence to the public military and the Jedi Order. By the end of the war and the start of the Cold War, it included also management networks, counterintelligence, foreign intelligence, military intelligence, and assisting local law enforcement agencies. The SIS is headquartered in the Harem complex on Coruscant and was led by the director of the SIS, who would have several agents on special assignments answer directly to him. Under the director were regional operational directors such as the director of Core World Operations and the director of Midran Operations. Planetary operations were headed by bureau chiefs who supervised special agents and regular agents. And a brief history. As I said before, the SIS was founded prior to the start of the Great Galactic War by the Galactic Senate. And they were an intelligence agency with monitoring and decryption, for the library. Before that, Republic intelligence had been in operation during the Mandalorian Wars, then later disbanded. Yet the SIS continued to be known as Republican intelligence. Years before the war, Republic scientists discovered an ancient Rakatan prison complex on the planet Belsavis, and during several secret sessions, the SIS decided to convert the complex into a new detention facility to be used to house dangerous prisoners whose execution was not possible or simply impractical. With the emergence of the Sith Empire and the outbreak of war, the Senate removed the agency from the Senate Library and expanded its duties. Due to its small size and relative newness, the SIS lacked the large network or bureaucracy that its Sith counterpart possessed. This became both an advantage and a disadvantage. The SIS had little oversight systems to worry about it, yet it remained within its legal boundaries even as it sought loopholes around it and ethical boundaries as evident when imprisoning the Cathar hero Prince Shanj. However, the agency had a hard time penetrating the Sith Empire. Following its emergence as an intelligence bureau, conspiracy theorists claim the SIS was the Republic's 30th or 40th attempt at an espionage agency, a theory not far from the truth. In 3,661 years before the Battle of Yavin on Belsavis, the Cathar hero, Prince Shanj, opposed the Cathars joining the Republic. Needing the prince quieted, SIS operatives abducted him and his followers and took him to the Belsavis prison and placed them in stasis. During several confrontations with the Empire, Republic warships went missing with their crew overcome by some unknown terror. SIS listening posts in the Outer Rim were able to intercept coded messages referring to these incidents and to a group of Sith Lords known as the Dread Masters. With the information in hand, Jedi Knight, Jared Caden, and a team of Republic Special Forces troopers were able to infiltrate the Imperial Dreadnought and capture the Sith Lords. The Masters were then taken for internment to the Tomb Prison Complex on Belsavis. During Kylo Viz's attack on the Mandalorian blockade of the Hydean Way, the SIS was informed of the battle and scrambled starfighters to aid the smuggler in her mission to break the blockade for the Republic. The battle was a victory for Viz and the Republic, and the Rimma trade route was once again open for the transportation of goods and military wares. Jedi Master Nostaral, the keeper of the Jedi Archives, mentioned this action by the SIS in his holodocumentary and his journal. And this concludes part 1 of the SIS. Next week, we pick it up with the Cold War. And as always, I wish to say thank you to the Wikipedia, Force.net, and all the other great Star Wars lore sites that are out there. Folks, if you enjoy Star Wars history as much as I do, please visit these sites, look up your favorite topics, and enjoy.
Okay, so then we roll right ahead into the Community Holo feed, where normally we would be talking about the winner of the trivia question of the week, but since we put that on hiatus for a little bit, stay tuned to the end of the show for the next trivia question. And if you think you know the answer, email us the answer to StarWarsBeyond@gmail.com. In your email, include the character name, your faction, and the server that you play on. And if there's more than one correct answer, we'll do a random drawing to win a cartel pack. Everyone that makes the serious attempt will be entered into the drawing for a much larger prize. Correct answers get 2 entries into the drawing, and you can be entered into the grand prize drawing every time you answer correctly. So, Buckeye, what's going on in our SWTOR community?
Yeah.
That's not my job.
Oh, it's your job. You finished counting hours ago.
I finished counting to 5 an hour ago.
Drink-
Took me 3 hours. It was real tough.
Drake urinate on him. Make it so.
Get it off. Get it off. Make it stop. Make it stop. Ah!
Only reading will save you. She hates stories.
In your SWTOR community, check out our fellow SWTOR podcasts. Most of them are available on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and SWTORnetwork.com. Corellian Run Radio is available at CorellianRun.com. Utinicast at Utinicast.com. SWTOR Escape Podcast at NewOverlords.com. The Usual Podcast at TheUsualPodcast.com. Passionately Casual Podcast on iTunes. Old Republic Radio on iTunes. It's a Trap Podcast on iTunes. And The Bad Feeling Podcast at TheBadFeelingPodcast.com. Be warned, this is an explicit podcast. Also, follow Madmore at SWTOR Family for the latest happenings in the SWTOR community. If you'd like to have your podcast listed on this segment, send us an email at starwarsbeyond@gmail.com.
Alright, now I'm going to tell you how you can get a hold of us. You can find out more about our show at StarWarsBeyond.com. You can like us on Facebook at Facebook.com/StarWarsBeyondPodcast. You can send us an email to StarWarsBeyond@gmail.com. You can tweet us. The show is at Star Wars Beyond. I am at Sith Lord Corv. Lou is at GamerGuy11B. Paige is at Asa Fiery. Pele is at WoW Piper. And Buckeye is at SWTOR Buckeye. And now it's time for our final thoughts. Go ahead, Buckeye.
Well, definitely can say that this new expansion has, renewed my excitement in the game, at least for the time being, and will definitely keep my attention going forward.
My final thought is, I'm just waiting for everybody to catch up through all the chapters so we can all start talking about it, because I have some crazy ideas based on what's happening I'd love to discuss publicly.
My final thought is that it's so good to be back and to be excited about being back and not being like, ah! I make noises when I can't make words. Lou, what's your final thought?
My final thought is I'm glad it's finally here. Well, at least for those who are fortunate to have early access. For those who will start it up next week, believe me, this is an expansion pack definitely worth waiting for. And I can't wait for everyone else to start playing it, to have access to it, start playing it. And as Play mentioned before, so that in a couple weeks we can actually start talking about it without ruining the story for a lot of folks. Because it is on that grand scale. And it's something that everyone's going to appreciate and really enjoy. And I can't wait for, to run it on the rest of my characters and, to completely looking forward to the next set of chapters as they unfold as the months go on.
I'm looking forward to when the show's over and Buckeye waxes Treeks back. Beyond the Stars is an independently recorded fan podcast made in association with NSG Productions. And now it's time to say goodnight.
Good night, everybody, and remember, I will be back next time we need to pay a tax to our good Lord Arkin.
Good night, everybody, and keep it clean.
Good night from the captain's chair.
Good night, everyone. Thank you all for joining us. See you all again next time.
Enchantment? Enchantment! Good night, everybody.
You've served your purpose.
Beyond the Stars trivia question for the week of October 23rd, 2015. First clue. I arose due to a critical difference of belief. Dissension caused by swaying too far to explore the limits of our power and dogma. Second clue. During my time, it was learned that extensive use of the Force could bend life itself and be reshaped into whatever the user saw fit. Third clue. Despite the monstrosities and vile tactics used during my time, eventually defeat and surrender would befall upon the followers of evil. Fourth clue. The victors collected the defeated, stripped them of their armor and weapons, and banished them forever from a public space. Fifth clue. Those exiled would one day encounter a new world with beings who would teach them a different way to feel and use the Force. What am I? Okay, folks, remember, please send your responses to StarWarsBeyond@gmail.com, and in your email, please include your answer, the character name, the server you're on, and please remember to include what faction you're playing with as well. Good luck, everyone. Looking forward to seeing all your answers.